I bought this. I bought this in an airport.
Oh, wow.
They had one that said playwright, which I have here. They had another one that said author, and I bought that one. I don't know where it is. And then there was another one that said dog catcher. And if I could find it, I'd wear it. But I can't find that one either. So playwright will have to do
Yeah,
it.
playwright, yeah. I think playwright's way better than a dog
Yeah.
catcher.
Well, I don't know, We actually had a very stressful day yesterday because in the middle of the night, someone deposited a dog in our front yard.
Oh.
And we have a little wall about that high that the puppy, it wasn't a little puppy, it was, but a puppy. It'll be a bigger dog. They just dumped. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, my wife went to get the paper and she said, I need your help. We got this puppy. He's been moaning and groaning and he's scared and the whole thing. And so we took it in and we fed it and we were debating, do we keep it? Because we have a German Shepherd and the two of them weren't good. The German Shepherd wasn't crazy about it. The German Shepherd's name is Penelope. And so we named the dog Homer.
Oh, yeah.
And by the end of the day, we were exhausted. We realized the dog's not housebroken. We don't have time to walk it along with the other dog. It was a mess. So we finally decided we're going to have to find someone who will adopt the dog. But we love the dog so much. Within that one day, we both bonded that where are we going to find someone who's going to take good care of it?
That's tough, yep.
And she went to the pet store where we bring our dog, and the trainer there, he saw a picture. We took a picture of the dog, and he looked at it, and he went, that's an Australian cattle dog. They're very expensive. And my wife said, would you like it? Would you like to take it? Because we can't handle it. He said, I've been looking for an Australian cattle dog that, I've been looking for it. He was so thrilled, and he's a trainer, and he and his wife came over last night, and they bonded, and the dog is okay. But at the end of the day, I said to my wife, I'm wiped out.
Yeah, that's how we had a cat for like 16, 17 years. Just showed up at the door, stressed, crying,
Right.
and probably someone dumped it. And
I know.
yeah,
our first cat was like that.
Yeah.
She was under a house, scared to death. And that cat, Cleo, when she died, she had been attacked by a dog, and we brought her to the vet, and her wounds were pretty bad, and the vet said, I'm afraid she's probably not going to live very long. And he said, do you want to leave her here with us? And I said, no, we're going to take her home, and she will, if she passes away, it'll be here in our house. So we took her home, and he said, but, if she is going to survive, you have to give her this eyedropper in her mouth every hour. So I laid on the floor next to her, and every hour, I didn't sleep that night, every hour I gave her a little bit of this medicine. And at some point, and then I would fall asleep, and then I'd wake up and give her some more. And at one point, about 4 a.m, I think it was, when I went to feel her, I could feel the body had, rigor mortis had set in. It's that stiffness. And I went, she's dead. And I just stayed with her. And then about 6:30, my wife walked in and she said, how's Cleo? And I said, she died. And I started crying. I don't think I've cried that hard since I broke up with somebody when I was a senior in high school. I started crying so heavy. And then I realized what it was. I was crying for my father. Because I never grieved for my father, because it's a long story, but I kind of skipped over the grief part. And I realized, and this is like 30 years later, here I am crying, and I went, I'm crying for my father. And just, man, it just came out. And we put her in a box, and we buried her and so forth, or had her buried, that kind of thing. But boy, animals, they can really rip your heart out.
Yeah, they can. And I've rescued a lot of cats, or we have, and
yeah,
they appreciate it. I don't think I've only purchased them from rescues. I've never purchased a purebred or anything.
Yeah, we've always rescued our pets.
Yeah,
Chucky, who we had to she had cancer, we had to put her down. He used to come up on my desk when I was working, and she would plop right down on my checkbook. And rather than move her, I would, try to write the checks and put them in the envelopes without disturbing him.
Oh yeah, we know all about it.
Yeah.
That's our daily.
Right. Right. Animals, man, there's
Yeah,
something.
they're wonderful though.
Anyway, do you have
Yeah,
a
let me.
question, right?
Okay. You have a concept you teach called image moment.
Oh, it's very complicated.
Okay, and that's an
But
approach to show don't tell.
it's a cinematic construct in writing that most people don't do because it's not intuitive, something you have to learn to do. But it takes a moment in a dramatic scene and how to create psychological time um, so that the reader is in that dramatic moment as if it was a movie. Like when you're in a movie and someone says something and then there's a pause and then they say something else and it's like, wow, one of those great moments. Oh, Rhett, what will I do? Where will I go? Pause. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. So when you're writing it, you're not making the movie, you're writing it. How do you create that pause and that moment of drama so that the reader feels they're watching the movie and that they're in the movie, they're watching it. And you create psychological time. The psychological time is the pause. The pause might only last a second in the movie, but psychologically it could last forever. So the husband comes home and she says, I listened to your messages today. He went, oh? She said, are you having an affair? Pause, pause, pause. No. So the drama in that pause, how do you make that psychological, that real time, which is only 2 seconds, psychological, so that it feels forever? Well, there's a way to. I have a lot of techniques that you do and what you do. It's a long mechanical construct, but image moment because you're creating a moment using images and creating psychological time. It takes people a while to learn how to master it because most people want to just tell their story, and stopping and doing an image moment feels like they're not going with the flow of their story. So you have to train people to do that.
Do you think that's what's missing in a lot of, let's say, first-time screenplays or films? Is that psychological time, that pacing? It's too fast.
A screenplay can't create psychological time. The filmmaker can create it. All you can create in a screenplay is dialogue. You can't tell the actors to pause. You can write it in the screenplay, but it doesn't mean they're going to listen to you. You can say cinematic pause here. Well, the director may go, no, we're going to do it my way. So you're not in control. All you can control is the dialogue, and even then, you'll have an actor who will rewrite your line. But you can create a cinematic moment in prose, where you create what appears to be like a movie. And you can learn how to do it. And once you learn how to do it and get over all your impulses to not do it, because it's a technique, just like in movie making. You have to know which lens to use and, when to go in for a close-up, and then it goes to the editor's room and then they have to edit it. That's technical. That's very technical. And the job of the editor who's editing it is to make the scene on the screen not look technical. He's got to make it work. So you go, wow. Major Strauss has been shot. Pause. Round up the usual suspects. The end of Casablanca. So the editor cuts it in such a way that you, as a moviegoer, feel the psychological time. So the image moment technique I teach is technical. It's very technical. And when people learn to do it and they finally get it, they're always amazed at how it works. And then, it happens without fail, they'll say, I was reading a book the other day and there were like 5 image moments on every page. Because good writers know how to do it. But it's not intuitive. It's not something you intuitively will know how to do. Oh, I'm sorry. I was
That's
just
okay.
trying to put this. It's so hard to
Oh,
put
no
it
worries.
back.
No worries.
One of the flaws in the design that I never
That's
quite
really cool.
made perfect.
That's really cool. Writing that'll live forever versus writing that's a dead end. You've made that comparison with poetry, I believe. Writing
Wait,
in
say
general.
that again.
Sure. Writing that'll live forever versus writing that's a dead end.
Versus writing that's a dead end. Is that what is your question?
That's the question. Let me try it again. So,
So
writing.
in other words, some writing lives forever and some writing doesn't.
I think you said that about poetry. And you said sometimes writers attempt to go for writing that'll live forever, but really what they're doing is it's a dead end. How does a writer know that? It doesn't have to be poetry or prose, or screenwriting.
I don't know if I have a wise answer to that. Sometimes you don't know. Some of the things you do you might think aren't going to be especially relevant or memorable, and for some reason it lives for a long time. And other things that you think are the best thing you ever did ends up being forgotten. So it's kind of hard to know. It's kind of like a crapshoot. You do the best work you can and you hope for the best.